Oh, come on, DC, are you ready? We are going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go! Molly already digging into that first burger. There's one. Molly goes quick. Oh, Dan Killer Kennedy, he's killing off those burgers. Oh, we have a quick race early going on. 1-1-1. Notorious B.O.B., he's enjoying that water from Seaburger. Bunny, she's working hard. She's working hard down there. Bunny Beasley down here, she's got one. No, that's for Greg Price. Mr. Yale, the Ivy Leaguer. You're pouring right through those burgers. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You're still at 1.25. 20 to finish her first. Notorious B.O.B. with 3. He's getting ready to finish 4. Patrick Deep Dish Bertoletti, that will be number 3 when he gets it. Molly Schuyler. Oh, she is about a quarter burger behind the Killer Kennedy right here. They are going at it neck and neck, burger for burger, bun for bun. Bottle of water for bottle of water. It only counts for the number of burgers eaten. Take a look back over here. David Tiger Wings and Things Brunelli. He is chowing through. He's at 4. He's looking to get 5. Oh, he's got a couple in there, it looks like. Down here, David Silverman. 1. I-T. Right here in the middle, the red table and the blue table, 6 each right here for Molly and Killer Kennedy. Oh, that's 7 now for Killer Kennedy. 4 over there for Deep Dish. Notorious B.O.B. Is it Notorious F-I-V-E? Now Notorious S-I-X. All the way down there, 2 for Mr. Yale. Bunny Beasley, our other female contestant, she's at 1 3/4 not hot dogs, but hamburgers eaten. We are worldwide here, DC. We are 2 minutes into the competition. When you watch something like this, you have to say to yourself, I can do that. And then when you try to do that, you say, these guys are amazing. But even more amazing is Molly Schuyler right over here. She has 9. Oh, this is going to be a close race between Dan Killer Kennedy and Molly Schuyler. Killer Kennedy, he's at about 9.5. Molly's going. Oh, Molly just took the lead. Molly's at 10. Just over 7 minutes remaining. I see you guys in the back. Yes, all of you back there, you're getting free burgers. Whatever's left over is all for you. Just kidding. We'll make you a fresh burger right after the competition's over. Oh, Killer Kennedy's killing him off. He's at 10. Molly Schuyler at 11. Look at Molly go. Now Deep Dish Bertoletti is pushing along. He just finished 6. He's up to 7. Notorious B.O.B. down there. Is that 9 for the Notorious B.O.B.? It is 9 for the Notorious B.I.B. He is chowing down. He is chowing down.
Here we go.
All right, coming over here. Is that 10 for the Notorious B.O.B.? He's up to 10. Deep Dish. Oh, he's up to 8. If you haven't had an authentic Chicago Deep Dish pizza, you are missing out.
And you're in the spot, sir. Just finish your third, David. Push through that. Stay in control.
About 6 minutes remain. 6 minutes remain. 2 for Quanique Beasley, 5 for the Ivy Leaguer, Mr. Yale. Greg Price, he's got a handful. 3 for David Silverman. Is that bottles of water or burgers? Burgers. 11 for David Tiger Wings and Things Brunelli. Dan the Killer Kennedy, 14. Molly Schuyler with 15. Deep dish. He's at 9. That is 12 down there. The notorious B.O.B. We've got the Davids right here. A total of 15 for the Davids. But it's Tiger Wings and Things with 12. He's cruising. Just a little over halfway through. Molly Schuyler with 17 burgers eaten.
Get that number to 4.
David Silverman, he's up to 4. 20 to 2. Greg Price to 6. The top eaters in the world, they're at double digits. 14 on my left for David Tiger Wings and Things Brunelli. Dan Killer Kennedy with 17. Molly Schuyler with 18. 11 for Patrick Deep Dish Bertoletti. 13. The notorious B.O.B. Shouts. He's living up to his name. He's killing those burgers. Who else is thirsty? Molly to 19. Is she going to go for 4? Is she going for 4 in a row? Oh, look at her go. 21 for Molly Schuyler. We are to 20 for Dan the Killer Kennedy. He's almost to 21. Just under 3 minutes.
Give it all you got, David.
15 for the notorious B.O.B. 13 for Deep Dish Bertoletti.
Come on, David. Get that number.
Oh, Dan the Killer Kennedy. He gets it to where it's tied, and Molly Schuyler says, nope. The Lars Eller of the hamburger eating contest, ladies and gentlemen. She gets it back.
Keep going. Keep going.
David Silverman, you're up to still at 4.
You got it.
David Tiger Wings and Brunelli, 17.
Go, Rosa.
21 for Dan the Killer Kennedy, 23 for Molly Schuyler. 2 minutes, 2 minutes remain.
One more bite to 5. One more bite to 5. Yeah. You got 2 minutes, one burger. You got this, David.
Remember at the end, those 2 minutes, there's another 2 minutes. They've got to keep it down. Otherwise, it's disqualification. 24 for Molly Schuyler.
David, you got this number 6.
She's so small she can't even get a nickname. She's Molly, 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 Molly. 23, is it going to be 24 for Dan the Killer Kennedy? There it is. Oh, they're tied up, and then Molly says, you know what? We're untied again.
Get around the middle. Do something fun with that one. Enjoy it.
Deep Dish Bertoletti, 15. Notorious B.O.B., he's the 17.
Come on, David. We're about to have a minute left. Go that burger.
45 seconds, 45 seconds.
It all just needs to be in your mouth.
It's going to be a race right here at the blue table.
Make room for all.
26 for Molly, 25 for Dan the Killer Kennedy. 30 seconds.
David, get that burger in your mouth. You got it.
20 seconds. And 26 burgers for Molly, 27. count it down New Year style. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And eating time is up. All burgers down. All right, we've got 2 minutes. They've got to stay right here. Scorekeepers, hold your scores high above your contestant.
Jared, he's not finished with his birthday.
Down in front, thank you.
This is the longest 2 minutes in their lives right now, ladies and gentlemen. We're not even a minute into it. If they hold it down, our judges have gone through. They've made the notes. Free burgers coming up shortly. We are 1 minute away. Got to keep it down for the next minute. Now, we do remind you, ladies and gentlemen, please do not grab the burgers that are on the table. The DC Health Department reminds you, please do not grab the burgers that are on the table. If you'd like a burger, we'll buy you one inside. Great shakes, great fries, great onion rings here as well. "30 seconds. All right, competitors, you've got 10 seconds. Four, three, two, one. All right, competitors, we have our final scores. Our judges will go through. We will announce the results shortly. Let's give them all a big round of applause today, ladies and gentlemen. All right, contestants, if you'd like, you can come backstage, cool off a little bit. We'll have our awards shortly.
Like it. All right, guys, as they tally the scores, if you're watching along with us here on Facebook, welcome to the show. We're watching with you in the newsroom. It's Rosa, Molly, and Brandon here. What did you guys think? They're going to work on, I guess, getting the cash prizes together?
Have they announced the winner, though? Because did they say? Did they?
Well, they
I didn't
tied
have
up.
Congratulations.
Like, 2 people tied up, and I think they should have a tiebreaker.
So 2 ties. There are 2 people tying. One, the reigning champion, the girl you see in the middle, where she's off camera now, but she came from California for this to defend her reigning championship. She's won.
Go Queen.
Molly Schuyler.
She's won the last 3 of these contests. It's the annual 4th of July Independence Day burger eating contest here in DC at Z Burger. This is a Maryland DC chain, if you're familiar with it. What did you guys think watching that? I mean, you guys, a lot of you guys are on right now. What do you guys think? I'm watching all your comments. This was a lot. I couldn't watch the last minute.
My arteries are closed, guys. I can't take this. And here's the crazy thing. Her last title, I think, was, what was it, 28 burgers she ate total. She stopped here at a 27.
Yeah.
So, did she defend it? She still maintained it.
Right.
I'm just going to say go Queen.
I know, right?
Go Queen.
They're going to announce it in a minute. What were you going to say?
My thing was, I just don't know, like, how do you wake up one day and just like, I want to be a competitive eater? So my thing is, how do you get into this? And you know, what's your motivation? Like,
Dude.
What motivate? I mean, food. Food is always a motivation.
$1,500.
And how do you prep for this? You know there's like a thing they do, there's a regiment. So it's $4,000 in total cash prize. The winner gets $1,500. There are some other levels that get more cash prizes and or money towards, you know, gift card at Z Burger. So it's kind of the whole runs the gamut here of prizes, but bragging rights, like some of you guys are saying. Woo, but I'm telling you, I'm not sure on a hot summer day like today, I could even down a couple. I'm just saying.
And just fun little tip for you guys wondering how many calories were in that pan? 23,000.
Yeah, we had some interns at the news desk do the math. 23,000 calories in that one pan of however many burgers it was.
Absolutely, yeah.
That they were trying to get down.
23,000, guys. Forget a summer bod.
But you can see not all of them, they didn't finish those exact pans. They went up to whatever level they could. So it was obviously more than 27 in those pans, but 28.
Do we know how many are in the pan by any chance?
You know, we should find out. The guys at the desk probably know because they were doing that math. But that's a lot. So the grand prize goes to the champ, but I don't know how they're going to do this because those two, they seemingly tied, so we'll see.
Maybe now there's a king and a queen. Will they split the titles? I don't know. Will they come back for next year? I guess we'll see.
Oh my goodness. So she's Molly Schuyler from California, the #1 ranked reigning champion of this burger eating contest. It's gone on for 9 years. This is actually the 9th annual contest. I don't think you could pay me to be one of those girls doing the numbers, but I'm just going to say that.
Just saying, 1,500, 1,500, not enough money for me.
Yeah, like I mean, they said she had to fly here from California, so I mean,
did they compensate
what kind
for
of
that?
prize is that really? It's just, I guess bragging rights, like they said.
Bragging rights.
Bragging rights. Let us know if you guys would do it in the comments if you're watching here on Facebook or YouTube. We are in the newsroom, eagerly awaiting the prize and the grand winner, the champion of this one. Let's jump back into the feed and see what happens.
All right, bye guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have results in. We're going to announce the top 5. They win a variety of cash and prizes courtesy of Z Burger for being out here today. So let's give all of our contestants a round of applause. All right, so now after this, we just talked about it. All of the media that are here, you're going to compete in an eating contest as well. We're going to rotate it around every station, so every 4 years you'll host. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here to help present the awards today is Peter Tabibi. And Peter, a lot of burgers eaten again. How exciting is this for you?
I don't know how they do it in this heat.
I don't know how they do it either. I can't even eat that many hamburgers in a year, let alone a day. Our 5th place winner today, ladies and gentlemen, he had 17 burgers eaten, winning $300 in Z Burger food cards, Patrick Deep Dish Bertoletti. Congratulations, Deep Dish. Thanks for being back here at the 9th annual Z Burger Independence Burger Eating Championship. Our 4th place finisher with 18 hamburgers eaten, winning $400 in cash, is David Tiger Wings and Things Brunelli. Here to accept the cash on his behalf is the young lady that was keeping score for him. All the money goes to her. He's cooling off inside. It's a little warm. We will get that to David Tiger Wings and Things Brunelli. Here he comes.
No.
1, 2,
Dude, there was 10 left.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
The count was made already, man.
We didn't. Why would we do anything to change it?
But he came over and did the count. That's why I went to the bathroom.
I counted first.
All Ladies and gentlemen, we head now to the third place. Our third place winner winning $500 in cash with 19 burgers eaten, Bob, the notorious B.O.B. Chow. Congratulations, B.O.B. Our second place burger eating finalist, 24 burgers eaten, $850 in cash goes to Dan Killer Kennedy. Killer, congratulations. Thanks for being a part of this event. And now, ladies and gentlemen, $1,500 in cash richer. Our 9th annual Z-Burger Independence Burger Eating Champion, falling just shy of her own record with 27 burgers eaten, Molly Schuyler. Congratulations, Molly. Let's hear it for Molly Schuyler, ladies and gentlemen, taking home $1,500 courtesy of Z-Burger. And our gracious host, Peter Tabibian. Oh man, who's hungry for burgers? All of our competitors will be available for interview in just a few moments. Some of them are a little bit fuller than others. Molly has asked that we take her over to Capitol Grill for another snack. Just kidding. She's gonna go inside and enjoy some of the onion rings and fries right here. She wants the milkshakes they have right here. Peter, what is it, over 80 different flavors now?
75.
75 different flavors of milkshake right here at Z-Burger. So why don't you head on inside. We'll get you hooked up with some hamburgers, ladies and gentlemen. DC, we thank you for being a part of it. We thank you for being here. I'm DJ Jared and your MC Jared Rotsky. We thank you all for coming out today. And happy birthday, USA!
My goodness, you guys. So we're back in the newsroom here. Hallie's joined us.
Hello, hello.
Y'all, that was intense, the end. Woo! Molly, reigning champion, 4-time champ. This time, did you catch how many she ate this time? It
27.
It was 27, so it was less than last time.
Less than last time, but still great.
Girl, pick it up.
Telling you, I'm getting hot just watching it, just watching everybody down these burgers. Did you catch it over the desk?
Oh my gosh, yeah, I was watching the entire thing, and I, for the record, she definitely well-deserved win because that guy, he was coming up on her, but not as fast as she was throwing him down.
And he was breaking him up and
yeah.
Exactly
Honestly, what I was analyzing is their their technique, their tactics.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they go like around the burger. No one just ate the burger.
They did not go straight in.
Skim the burger and then put the middle in the mouth. I thought that was really interesting. I was like, I would have never thought of consuming a burger that way, but I guess that's an efficient way to do it because they got 30 down in like 5 minutes.
The ones eating it, like regular burgers, they only ended up with like 2 or 3.
Yeah. There was a lady at the end who she was at 2 when Molly was at 25.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? She was just eating it like a regular burger, and I said to myself, I guess that is not the tactic to use.
I guess not. Wait, what was the prize?
The crazy thing is, it was a total of $400, but it was broken down. So the first 5 people got like cold hard cash in different chunks. $1,500 being the most. But the next people, the 6 through 10, all got money to spend towards or at the establishment, Z-Burger. So it was, what would you do it for is the question. What's the best prize?
I think I would sell my gift card. Gotta love Z-Burger, but guys, canceled out for the rest of the year.
Every year they do this, and it's an annual Independence Day thing. We are just about a mile down the street from this location in Tenleytown, so we await them possibly sending some stuff our way.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll see what happens in the newsroom.
Maybe we'll have our own little Fox News burger eating contest.
Oh my God.
Head that up.
Yeah, you guys.
I'll record, that's it.
Yeah. Brandon was trying to say he could eat more than me. I don't know.
Oh, well, yeah. I
Brandon,
probably
can you?
Yeah, I definitely
clearly
could.
girls are just have as much eating potential as guys.
Exactly.
Yeah.
sure,
If
but-
not, we probably stay hungrier. You guys just think.
I mean,
I don't know what we do on the low at
A
night.
lot.
I think just like the competitive side of me. I mean, you know, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go ahead, toss those things back. And
Oh, we may just have to
make
bring
this a
this,
challenge.
guys.
Yeah, guys, to clarify some of your questions, the second guy was that guy that we thought was neck and neck with her at 27. Turns out he finished 24, and she won with 27.
This is
So
disgusting.
Molly Schuyler won first. Yeah, dude, I feel you on that. It's a lot.
27
It's a lot
burgers,
to
yeah.
look at. We're looking at the water,
Oh man.
the hot, all the mix.
God,
I'd
it
eat trade
feels
for
like
that.
104, and
It's
you're just
hot.
eating 28 heavy burger. Oh.
But in all
No
seriousness,
condom.
guys,
Oh,
yeah,
man.
if you're in the DMV, which I think a lot of you are, let us know where you're watching from, and stay safe out there. It is hot and hazy, super humid today. It's going to be hot all day as we were kind of recounting here with Tucker, our weather guy this morning, and we go into the afternoon. It's going to be just as hot into Independence Day, a little cooler tomorrow. So just be safe and hydrate, and
Stay hydrated.
yeah, maybe don't eat that many burgers when sitting.
A nice ice cream would probably help you keep a little cool today.
Fruit is always refreshing.
That too.
Watermelon.
Look at you going for the healthy
Watermelon,
eats. I said ice
fruit,
cream.
yeah.
You know?
Love that. Watermelon is good.
Hey,
Hydrating.
there's alternative options out there, whatever you're feeling.
All right, y'all. Thanks for all your congrats. Thanks for watching. Join us again on our next live stream. We're going to leave you with this bump shot of the beautiful Z Burger restaurant. We'll catch you next time.
Things go wrong, it's just incidental. My bad, without the metal. You never have fun while you're in the limit. You wanna ride in the six, you wanna dine in the six. And when I leave with the kiss, you said I'll probably send you some bits. And I'm like, hell no, been waiting too long. Hell no, I want that cool love. Hell no, been waiting too long. Hell no, I want that cool love. Body,
All right, guys, we're back in the newsroom, and hopefully you all enjoyed that riveting 9th annual burger eating contest at Z Burger just down the street from us in Tenleytown. I know that I'm a little heated just from watching that. I got my water, my Wizards cup on display, proudly on display here. The day before the 4th of July, we have a couple of news stories to share with you. Some of the top stories from here in D.C., in Trump's White House, of course, as he interviews candidates for the next Supreme Court justice, and some other things that our sister stations are working on across the nation and how to stay safe and secure during this 4th of July holiday. So check it out.
High court, but the path to get there runs right through the White House, where the interviewer-in-chief has been at work.
I interviewed and met with 4 potential justices of our great Supreme Court. They are outstanding people. They are really incredible people in so many different ways.
A source tells Fox that these are the 4 candidates the president has met with so far. The one getting most attention is Judge Amy Coney Barrett, who just last year squared off with Senate Democrats when she was nominated for a federal appeals court and found herself defending her Catholic faith in the context of abortion.
And it is game time. This is not a drill.
Groups on the left are already mobilizing even before a nominee is announced, and so are groups on the right.
President Trump's list includes the best of the best.
But with just a tiny GOP majority in the Senate, the White House is focusing on 2 Republicans in particular, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, who may have concerns about a possible reversal of Roe v. Wade, which legalized abortion. At the time, they're looking at a handful of possible Democrats who may cross over as something of an insurance policy. But that strategy may only go so far.
I noticed there was discussion about the possibility if you lost Collins and you lost Murkowski, you'd be down below your majority, and maybe you could pick up some Democratic votes. If Collins and Murkowski go against this nominee, it's hard for me to believe they're going to pick up any Democrats.
One of the main midterm issues for Democrats is a law that was signed 8 years ago.
Is there a female doctor in the House?
Obamacare. Democratic candidates have already flooded airwaves with 9,600 political ads expressing support for the Affordable Care Act, according to the Kaiser Family Foundation. Now party leaders are framing the Supreme Court fight as one about President Obama's signature legislation. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wrote one judge on President Trump's short list would vote to strike down pre-existing conditions protections in the ACA. Democratic Senator Dick Durbin added this on Sunday.
He's looking for someone on the court who will make sure that they rule that the Affordable Care Act's protection of those with pre-existing conditions is unconstitutional. That'll mean thousands, if not millions, of Americans will lose their health insurance.
It's been almost a year since Republican Senator John McCain tanked his party's pledge to repeal and replace Obamacare. And that's a thumbs down that still comes up as President Trump campaigns for Republicans.
That was a very sad day for the country when that vote was cast.
Republican lawmakers don't think their health care efforts have been totally fruitless.
We eliminated the individual mandate that said people had to buy government-approved insurance. And for a lot of people, that meant much more freedom and flexibility in their lives. That was part of the tax bill, but in a sense, it blew a big hole in Obamacare.
Prices for many voters are set to spike just before the midterms, when premiums increase.
We're going to get another round right before the election, which is something Republicans are nervous about. But since the beginning, the premiums in the individual market have doubled and tripled in most places.
The last few cycles, Republicans have had success with their pledge to repeal and replace Obamacare. So now Democrats are hoping to find luck with their pledge to protect Obamacare. And liberal groups are betting millions of dollars that that's their ticket to winning back the House and the Senate. On Capitol Hill, Peter Ducey, Fox News. Three, two. The last few cycles.
Zoe the Pit Mix hates this sound so much that Friday she did this, hurting herself, clawing her way through a door, trying to escape.
If we're home, she's perfectly fine.
But when she's alone, the 7-year-old pup has a habit of physically expressing her anxiety. Her owners now worrying about this week when fireworks go off.
She's getting progressively worse every year. We've tried pretty much everything at this point.
We took the problem to local vet Caroline Hecker, who says for pets like Zoe, it's not their fault.
It's so out of the blue. They don't understand that it's 4th of July. They don't understand that there's a thunderstorm coming. They just feel those pressure changes. They hear that rumble and they think their world's coming to an end.
She doesn't recommend thunder vests for a long-term solution. Instead, she says try positive reinforcements.
Start giving them treats, lots of like good bones or good treats that they don't get normally.
She recommends dogs like Zoe not be locked up, and when all else fails.
So she sounds like she might need a combination of both medicine and training.
Meds range from over-the-counter Benadryl all the way to vet-prescribed doggy Xanax. There's even medical marijuana for dogs. It's not federally legal yet, but Hecker says the research is positive.
The damage we can live with, you know, you can fix things or whatever, but the real pain is seeing the damage she's doing to herself.
In Seminole County, Heather Gustafson, Fox 35 News.
After running into a brief snag, Jacob is glad to have his official permit hanging up now and be open for business.
He wanted this lemonade stand for his birthday. And that's all he wanted.
8-year-old Jacob Blank's sweet sips also come with sweet purpose.
To get air conditioner back on, because we have no air conditioner in our car.
His mom insisting he should use the money for something else, so he's donating it to a global missionary program through his church.
Or they can spread the word about Jesus.
Yeah.
But his tasty success spoiled by a customer late Friday afternoon.
He goes, "Do you have a permit?" I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "Do you have a permit? Do you have a health permit? Do you have a food handler's permit?"
Gina sent her son Jacob inside to sort things out. The customer wasn't a city employee, but insisted the little boy needed a permit to run his sidewalk store.
They go, "No, we just want to know as customers, because if we get sick off of this, you know, we want to know who to go to."
I was like, whoa, what's crazy with him? Why you want to shut me down? It's just lemonade, come on.
Angry and confused, Gina took to Facebook to find out if a permit was actually needed. No one had a clear-cut answer, but the next day, Jacob got the surprise of a lifetime when first responders lined up to his lemonade stand.
I thought there was an emergency somewhere.
There was no trouble, but an overwhelming display of community support.
I did not expect to see the whole street covered with the hook and ladder, Clay County Sheriff and Gladstone Police, and then Metro Security. I did not expect to see any of that. Oh, and the ambulance, EMTs. Didn't expect to see none of that.
They even left him with their seals of approval. For Mom Gina, it means the world.
People should encourage kids to do more like this and support them, you know.
Jacob has a speech disorder, and she's now seeing this little stand and all the success it's having boost his confidence.
Thank you for coming by, and God bless.
He's planning to be open most of the summer during the week except for Sundays, so be sure to come out to 61st and Wyandotte and come get a glass. It's pretty tasty. Karamashik, Fox 4 News.
This is what you'll see walking into Chelsea Craver's room at Rocky Mountain Hospital for Children. Hundreds of mermaid fairies.
I like all of them.
The 8-year-old from Littleton named the mermaid C, like Chelsea.
When I wake up, I look at one, and then the next day, I wake up and I look at another one.
Chelsea is battling acute myeloid leukemia and has been at this hospital since March 6th, getting chemotherapy.
What's it like being in the hospital for this long?
Poopy.
She likes to snuggle with her dog Skips, who is allowed. But since she can't leave, a friend started the mermaid campaign.
People have printed these off, colored in the mermaids, and then taken photos of her and her adventures all over the country.
She's gone to the Bahamas at least twice.
Chelsea's mom shows us photos from the islands to New York to California. She's with hippos and goats and more.
I just like to see her in different places.
The effort means a lot.
It just shows you that people are really thinking about you and are on her side.
I've seen a lot of hospital rooms in my life, and I've never seen one like this.
Chelsea's doctor says she's now scheduled for a bone marrow transplant, and he has high hopes for this special girl.
She brings rainbows and unicorns and mermaids into everybody's heart every day.
Even with all of these great ideas for travel, there's just one place Chelsea wants to go.
Home.
Kim Posey, Fox 31.
It's actually dark, D-A-R-K.
Born and raised in South Korea.
They say Doc, like for dark, so we'll call him Doc.
This African lion's name lives up to his history.
There's an accident in the zoo where the keeper was killed by leaving a door open.
That was back in 2015, and all fingers pointed to Dark. Him and his mate were taken off exhibit during the investigation.
They ended up spending almost 3 years inside those locked rooms, never seeing daylight.
Where they gave birth to a cub.
The family there had kind of the right to say whether these lions live or died, and they preferred that the lions be put down.
While it's the family's right,
their life was on the line.
Pat Craig says that doesn't make it right.
This was a situation of a captive lion doing what he normally does, and really not really fair to him or especially the other two that had nothing to do with killing this person. Look at her. She's like...
Pat and his team from the Wild Animal Sanctuary in Keensburg stepped in, flew to South Korea, and rescued the 3 lions with the life sentence.
Nobody there wanted to disrespect the family by not listening to what they wanted.
He says now that they're in Colorado, a world away, it's a win-win for everyone.
I think that everybody there, once they're gone, will kind of breathe easier and not have to worry about that whole tension.
And so will the female, the cub, and Dark.
They'll do great here, and they'll have a great life.
Whose future isn't dark at all.
Now they'll have all the sunshine and open air they want.
I'm Matt Rodewald. Police and animal lovers are breathing a sigh of relief tonight after DPS troopers were able to safely remove a dog off a Phoenix freeway early this morning.
The dog looked like it had been running around quite a bit. Its paws looked a little bit bloody. I wasn't able to tell if it was hit or not or injured in another way, but it was just pretty much spent.
DPS was the first on scene. Sky Fox overhead in the middle of rush hour on the I-10 at 7th Avenue around 7:30.
Most of the time, they're not very happy to see us chasing them around on the freeway.
But this dog was, and maybe it's because of Patrick Stoner, who some are calling tonight the dog whisperer.
That's what they're saying, but I don't think so. It was just the heat, and the dog being friendly, I think, helped us.
And it was a quick rescue on the side of the highway.
I try and earn its trust by, lowering my hand to the lower part of its face, so that way it knows that I'm not coming down to hit it. I'm actually coming to help it.
The dog is improving tonight, safely housed at the Maricopa County Animal Shelter in Phoenix. Reporting tonight, Matt Rodewald, Fox 10 News.
You see this boxy looking with those like louvers? These are pumps.
Physicist and former NASA astronaut Franklin Chang Diaz peeks inside his rocket chamber. When finished, he says the plasma-powered rocket it contains will be capable of sending humans to Mars, and quickly. We're talking a mission to Mars in a matter of weeks.
This idea started just as a simple sketch in a napkin.
The idea, 40 years in the making, of heating argon gas to such a high temperature that it takes the form of plasma and using that to power a rocket.
And plasma is what the sun is made out of, and the stars are made out of plasma. These gases are millions of degrees.
The hotter the gas, the faster the rocket moves. But how to heat plasma to millions of degrees without melting its canister? That's where Chang Diaz's invention comes into play. Rather than anything physical, he uses a tube-shaped magnetic field to house the plasma.
Invisible ducts that can control and guide this very hot plasma out to escape.
Air is pumped out of the large rocket chamber to create a space vacuum for testing. The Ad Astra rocket company is in its third of a 3-year contract with NASA, building and testing the Vasimir rocket.
This year we are reaching a very important milestone, which NASA wants to see, which is to run this engine for 100 hours nonstop.
Chang Diaz says the test run will start in the next few days and will determine whether the rocket engine can run for days on end without overheating or eroding. If everything works according to plan, they'll do a demo flight testing this engine in space around the year 2022. Chang Diaz says the private rocket company will likely first make revenue with missions closer to Earth, things like space debris removal.
Our engine could be used to drive a garbage truck. It's not very glamorous, but it's a good business.
He also wants to use it to reboost the International Space Station more efficiently and even as an asteroid deflector.
In doing so, we will be developing the technology that will enable us to go to Mars.
That technology will be a nuclear reactor that attaches to the rocket and heats the plasma. Altogether, it's a rocket powerful enough to shorten a human mission to Mars from 8 months to just a 39-day trip.
39 days is a reasonable thing to do if you have the right reactor, but we don't have the right reactor right now.
Chang Diaz says creating that reactor and finishing the Mars-bound plasma propulsion rocket is something that can and should be done in the next decade. In Houston, Ivory Hecker, Fox News.
Yes, best you can. How many of you? 13. Brilliant.
Backpack is we going inside?
No, not today. Not today. There's 2 of us. You have to die. We are coming. It's okay. It's okay. Many people are coming. Many people. We are the first. Many people come.
So what you guys just watched was that raw video of the rescue of those Thai boys who were found in a flooded cave. It's going to take them possibly months to get them out and retrieve them, but they were able to survive on water that was somehow flowing in the cracks between the crevices of that cave, and they were found and they are all alive, but now comes the whole rescue mission for them. We actually just had some video pop up on our screen from this international source. Unfortunately, we can't bring it to digital based on the rights of using this video and its source, but if we do have any sources that we can bring you, we will on that story. Meanwhile, wildfires continue to burn in Texas, in Palo Pinto County, Texas, as well as Yolo County in California. So those are pretty severe. We've had some video of those running here and there. Unfortunately, that chopper shot just left us as well. But when we have more, gosh, this heat wave is just bringing tons of heat to those areas and really causing these brush fires to just continue to burn. In California, they're up to 70,000 or so acres that are burning. Back in D.C., we have an interesting story that one of our reporters here at TTG, Evan Lambert, put together yesterday about the situation of hate crime in D.C., sort of a downer compared to some of those uplifting stories about animals that we just showed you. But check it out, kind of a report about what they're doing about it and the numbers right now and how prevalent hate crime is here in our city of D.C.
You've probably seen this video of the vicious attack on 2 gay men along U Street back in April. Police say the suspects, who haven't been caught, used gay slurs while punching and kicking the victims. On Memorial Day weekend, police say this man used a homophobic slur and punched a man in the face near 14th Street and Rhode Island Avenue Northwest. These crimes are just 2 of 156 reported hate crimes against LGBT people in the district since 2016. We wanted to know how often the perpetrators of these crimes are being held accountable under the law. So we analyzed the cases of 43 defendants arrested and charged by police over the last 2 years with crimes that involved hate or bias against LGBT people. Our analysis found that 0 out of 43 defendants charged were prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which calls for 1.5 times the sentence based on a hate crime. Just 16% of the defendants ended up being charged with a hate crime by prosecutors. And in 49% of the cases, the charges were dismissed either through a pretrial diversion program or because the prosecution dropped the cases.
It really creates a culture of impunity because people they know they can come from outside the region and find targets. I see this as something that is part of their healing.
Ruby Corrado founded Casa Ruby, a drop-in center and safe space for LGBT people in Northwest. They serve many people who are transgender. Many are also homeless and have been victims of hate crimes, like Ruby herself.
I suffered an attack where a person left me for dead in the living room of my own apartment. And I didn't even show up for court because I was so wounded.
What frustrates Ruby and other advocates is the inability to hold people who are arrested fully accountable. The U.S. Attorney's Office declined an on-camera interview with Fox 5. They did email a statement saying in part, quote, "The U.S. Attorney's Office is committed to investigating and prosecuting individuals who carry out bias-related crimes in the District of Columbia," end quote. The legal threshold beyond a reasonable doubt is tougher to meet than the standard for police to arrest someone for a hate crime based on probable cause. The U.S. Attorney's Office did say they are prosecuting 6 individuals with hate crimes committed over the last 2 years, and they are seeking the hate crimes sentencing enhancement, including on 4 defendants charged with the robbery and murder of 22-year-old Daniqua Dodds. Dodds, a transgender woman, was shot in the neck on July 4th, 2016 in Northeast.
No one wants to live in a city where you yourself can become a target one day.
So definitely an illuminating package there on the situation in D.C. It was a famous case that happened a few months ago on U Street, a popular corridor here in Washington. And Evan Lammer doing some great reporting there about what they're doing now, and still they haven't found the suspects in that case, but they're working on it, and good to see the community coming together to talk about this and illuminate it. All right, let's go to something different, totally different now. We're prepping for the 4th of July, and right now we just have coming in officials in Philadelphia talking about security measures and preps for the Independence Day holiday tomorrow. You know DC also is going to be doing the same thing as we have the huge nation celebration down at the mall, the Capitol 4th, and lots of stars down there, singers and celebrities performing on that PBS special. But right now, officials in Philadelphia are informing everyone of the precautions that they're taking in Philly. So let's check out what's going on in Philadelphia.
So yeah, we keep it here in the last couple of weeks, years, I don't know. But those are the things that they look at. They look at all those things to try to determine how likely it would have been that he would have been able to carry out anything in Philadelphia or anywhere else for that matter.
There was also a robbery that he was charged with, I believe, in 2016, and then picked up in Ohio. And we saw some documentation that that authorities here had, or at least Pennsylvania authorities had, like 9 days to pick him up, and then didn't until he was released. Do you know the circumstances?
I do not. I'll have to check into that, and Sekou can get back to you, but I'm not aware of that.
Commissioner, do you have a list of any items, just the generic, like what's on bring, what to bring?
So there's no alcohol. Yeah. No alcohol allowed on the Parkway area of the event, other than what the beer gardens are serving. There's 3 beer gardens. No hard coolers within the screened-in area. Can bring soft coolers. It's pretty much it. There will be screening to get into the ticketed area of the Parkway. Yes. You can bring a bag. Definitely bring water.
Can you touch on fireworks safety and any laws that the department has regarding fireworks in the city?
Yeah, there's been a misconception about the M series fireworks, that they're legal. They've been a problem this year. They're definitely illegal. You will be arrested for selling, possessing, or using that series of fireworks. There is a Class C. You have to be 150 feet away from any residence, which means you have to really be in an open area. You can have no fireworks at these events in Center City.
And then not events, just around the city. Do you guys get a lot of calls night of for people who think maybe have gunshots, whereas they're hearing fireworks all night?
We do get some calls for gunshots that end up being fireworks.
Anybody else? Deputy Commissioner, one last question. I spoke to Captain about this. One of my colleagues is working on an incident that happened at B in Allegheny on Sunday night. There is a claim that an undercover or unmarked police unit struck a gentleman, I believe it's a teenager, on a dirt bike. He's now in critical condition. Can you give us an update or sense of where your investigation is?
All right, so clearly there was an incident Sunday. We are still investigating. We are looking to see if we can find any video that would help us with our investigation. And as always, someone else has in the public that may help us with, that you give us a call. But right now, ongoing investigation, I don't have a lot more with regard to exactly what happened. Unfortunately, this young man was badly hurt, and so we're trying to find out exactly why it happened. And
it sounds like the debate was either a police vehicle was involved or it was just a bike and a separate parked car.
Right, so it's just too preliminary for us to make that call, and so I don't want to get too far out there and say that we believe this happened or didn't. We'd rather have the facts And this is why, again, we say that if anyone has video or any other information that would help us with the investigation, by all means, call us, and hopefully you'll provide that for us. We are obviously independently looking for that as well, so that we can piece it all together. We will follow up with you should we get more information in short order. Right?
Thank you, Commissioner. People who are licensed to carry.
Okay.
What are the restrictions tomorrow in and around the areas of celebration?
Well, I mean, I don't think they're restricted, are they? They're not restricted. Yeah, I mean, it's not a closed event. I just would tell you to use extreme caution in an event like that for common sense reasons. You know, we just ask for people to call should they see anything suspicious, right? It's summertime. It is likely that someone could see you trying to conceal a weapon, even though you're legally able to do so. And so it is conceivable that you would also have someone call the police on you. And so I would just be very judicious in doing so. I don't think it's the type of event that you would need to bring a weapon to, because there'd be so much security there, but obviously I can't preclude you from doing so. I just personally would not, under those circumstances, choose to do so. It's just so many people, so many things can go wrong. And so I would just suggest you leave it at home, but obviously it is your right under the law to carry, and this is not one of the events where you're prevented from doing so.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
All of these work.
All right, y'all, thanks for sticking on with us here in the newsroom at Fox 5 DC. We're Fox 5 Live. I'm Molly Nevola on this 3rd of July. It is super, super hot, as you can see with those heat index numbers. Now, I'm not, of course, the meteorologist, but you saw those numbers on the screen, and it is super, super hot and hazy and humid today, and it's going to be as such tonight for even the Nationals Red Sox game down at Nats Park, and then into tomorrow. I think it's going to feel a little cooler, but just a tad. So we were getting that full report from our meteorologist this morning. So definitely, if you are in the area, do stay safe. Quick live look at the Hotel Monte Carlo Oceanfront in Ocean City, Maryland, courtesy of OceanCityLive.com. The cams there. This is 11th Street in the boardwalk, and you can see it is already kind of booming with people on the beach getting ready. Hopefully the breeze is a little bit stronger there because it is really, really hot in the depths of the city, and we're dealing with that for today and the next really the whole night. I think the heat advisory goes until 8 p.m. here in DC. But quick live look over also at Cleveland, Ohio. Check it out. We were talking about this earlier. This is the Lebron James banner that's hanging up. You can see workers. I think they're up there. Yeah, you can. They look like tiny little ants, but they're working on getting that banner down. So it's sort of a ceremonious takedown of the LeBron James banner in Cleveland. Kind of bittersweet.
Stations out on Edge Live Channel 2.
Lots of people tweeting their support, though, of LeBron James and him going to LA.
The local workers are removing LeBron James.
The local workers were moving him down. We're just getting that announcement now.
He's decided to go to Los Angeles. Sources WJW. Much courtesy of Take the Live. You can't stream it.
You guys over to another cool
Edge Live
event
Channel 2, taking down LeBron James image in Cleveland, Ohio. Sources WJW.
Over in Williamsburg, let's get you into the spirit of 4th of July. We're talking about preps for security, what to and to not bring to this July 4th preparation celebrations on the mall and here in DC. But over in Colonial Williamsburg, of course, they do the reenactments. And today, this morning, just a few hours ago, Thomas Jefferson read the Declaration of Independence. Now, I know a lot of people do this at these 4th of July celebrations. I've done it in previous years at some of these parties. Whatever you do for the 4th, lots of people like to incorporate that into their party. So this was the official, you could say, one in Williamsburg, and we have that on tape. So check it out, get you in the spirit for tomorrow. Whatever you're doing for the holiday, hope that you celebrate well and safely. Check out this rendition here from the reenactment of Thomas Jefferson and the Declaration.
Thank you very much for that. That was absolutely lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the sights and sounds of the fifes and drums here at Colonial Williamsburg. They were awesome, weren't they? Round of applause from all of you at home and in our studio audience here in Colonial Williamsburg. So we're celebrating our Proud American coverage as we get ready for Independence Day in Norfolk, Virginia. But we've ventured up the road to Colonial Williamsburg, and look who I found hiding here. The one and only Thomas Jefferson. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Anna.
Thank you. Such a gentleman, isn't he, that TJ? So we're brushing up on our Founding Fathers history while we're here. I want to ask you, what did it feel like to write the Declaration of Independence?
Well, I say that I was aided by neither book nor pamphlet in the creation of this document, and it was truly a private endeavor. I wrote 3 drafts over 3 consecutive days, and the 3rd draft I thought was good enough to submit to my subcommittee with Dr. Franklin, John Adams, Mr. Sherman, Mr. Livingston, and myself. They made some minor alterations. We know that the document says we hold these truths to be self-evident.
Right here,
and
but
yet...
there were other words that were originally in their place.
Correct. I originally wrote, we hold these truths to be sacred and undeniable. And Dr. Franklin suggested self-evident. I suppose it will stick.
Yeah, and a lot of you are probably at home singing the Hamilton song. You don't want me to say Hamilton in front of you, though, do you?
Nay, do not speak of that scoundrel.
Exactly. Would you like to read some excerpts from the Declaration of Independence?
Excerpts or the entire thing?
Actually, if you've got the time, do the entire thing.
Well, then very well, we shall do it.
Let's do the entire thing. Take it away.
When, in the course of human events, it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another, and to assume among the powers of the earth the separate and equal station to which the laws of nature and of nature's God entitle them, a decent respect to the opinions of mankind requires that they should declare the causes which impel them to the separation. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. Prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes, and accordingly all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations pursuing invariably the same object evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty, to throw off such government and provide new guards for their security. Such has been the patient sufferance to these colonies, and such is now the necessity which constrains them to alter their former systems of government. The history of the present King of Great Britain is a history of repeated injuries and usurpations, all having in direct object the establishment of an absolute tyranny over these states. To prove this, let facts be submitted to the candid world. He has refused his assent to laws the most wholesome and necessary for the public good. He has forbidden his governors to pass laws of immediate and pressing importance unless suspended in their operation till his assent should be obtained, and when so suspended, he has utterly neglected to attend them. He has refused to pass other laws for the accommodation of large districts of people, unless those people would relinquish the right of representation in the legislature, a right inestimable to them and formidable to tyrants only. He has called together legislative bodies at places unusual, uncomfortable, and distant from the depository of the public records for the sole purpose of fatiguing them into compliance with his measures. He has dissolved representative houses repeatedly for opposing with manly firmness his invasions on the rights of the people. He has refused for a long time after such dissolutions to cause others to be elected, whereby the legislative powers incapable of annihilation have returned to the people at large for their exercise, the state remaining in the meantime exposed to all the dangers of invasion from without and convulsions within. He has endeavored to prevent the population of these states, for that purpose obstructing the laws of naturalization of foreigners, refusing to pass others to encourage their migrations hither, and raising the condition of new appropriation of lands. He has obstructed the administration of justice by refusing his assent to the laws for establishing judiciary powers. He has made judges dependent on his will alone for the tenure of their offices and the amount of payment of their salaries. He has erected a multitude of new offices and sent hither swarms of officers to harass our people and eat out their substance. He has kept amongst us in times of peace standing armies without the consent of our legislatures. He has affected to render the military independent and superior to the civil power. He has combined with others to subject us to a jurisdiction foreign to our Constitution and unacknowledged by our laws, giving his assent to their acts of pretended legislation, for quartering large bodies of armed troops amongst us, for protecting them by mock trial from punishment for any murders which they should commit on the inhabitants of these states, for cutting off our trade with all parts of the world, for imposing taxes upon us without our consent, for depriving us in many cases of the benefits of a trial by jury, for transporting us beyond the seas to be tried for pretended offenses, for abolishing the free system of English laws in neighboring provinces, establishing therein an arbitrary government and enlarging its boundaries so as to render it at once an example and fit instrument for inducing the same absolute rule onto these colonies, for taking away our charters and abolishing our most valuable laws and altering fundamentally the forms of our government, for suspending our own legislatures and declaring themselves invested with the power to legislate for us in all cases whatsoever. He has abdicated government here by declaring us out of his protection and waging war against us. He has plundered our seas, ravaged our coasts, burnt our towns, and destroyed the lives of our people, and he is at this time transporting large armies of foreign mercenaries to complete the works of death, desolation, and tyranny already begun with circumstances of cruelty and perfidy, scarcely paralleled in the most barbarous of ages and totally unworthy of the head of a civilized nation. He has constrained our fellow citizens taken captive on the high seas to bear arms against their country, to become executioners of their friends and brethren, or else to fall themselves by their hands. He has excited domestic insurrections amongst us and has endeavored to bring on the inhabitants of our frontier the merciless Indian savage, whose known rule of warfare is an undistinguished destruction of all ages, sexes, and conditions. And in every stage of these oppressions, we have petitioned for redress in the most humble terms. Our repeated petitions have been answered only by repeated injury. A prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of a free people. Nor have we been wanting in our attentions to our British brethren. We have warned them from time to time of attempts by their legislature to extend an unwarrantable jurisdiction over us. We have reminded them of the circumstances of our immigration and settlement here. We have appealed to their native justice and magnanimity, and we have conjured them by the ties of our common kindred to disavow these usurpations, which would inevitably disrupt our connections and correspondence. And they, too, have been deaf to the voice of justice and consanguinity. We must, therefore, acquiesce in the necessity which denounces our separation and hold them as we hold the rest of mankind, enemies at war, and at peace, friends. We, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America, in General Congress assembled, appealing to the Supreme Judge of the world for the rectitude of our intentions, do in the name and by the authority of the good people of these colonies solemnly publish and declare that these united colonies are and of right ought to be free and independent states, that they are absolved from all allegiance to the British Crown, and that all political connection between them and the state of Great Britain is and ought to be totally dissolved. And as free and independent states, we have the full power to levy war, conclude peace, contract alliances, establish commerce, and do all other things and acts which independent states of right ought to do. And for the support of this declaration, with a firm reliance on the divine providence, we mutually pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
That was absolutely beautiful, Mr. Jefferson. Thank you very much. Good to hear the emotion in your voice and even tears in your eyes right now. You're going to make me cry as well. We've been asking military members and civilians alike, what makes you proud to be an American?
This is a gift, this entire nation. It's a gift that began in 1776, and it's a gift that we are just momentary stewards of. In 1776, we gave every man a crown. We took a crown off of one man's head and placed that crown upon all men. And we wear that crown today. Collectively and individually, we are sovereign. And it's our hope that we may continue with civil discourse and we may understand that heavy is the head that wears the crown. And we all bear the weight and responsibility to bring this nation, stare directly in the face of the nation that we inherit, and decide how can we do better.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you, because debate has gotten very ugly these days. How do you weigh in on that? We were making a joke about you and Alexander Hamilton. What's the importance of having healthy debate but making it civil?
Debate is healthy. This country is founded upon debate. There's one of my cousins says in the 18th century, one of my cousins says, if everyone's thinking the same thing, then someone's not thinking. But the trick is to engage in civil debate. The trick is not to debate the man in front of you, but the ideas between you. And when you engage in civil debate, when you use cool reason over hot passion, then you don't stagnate, you don't allow your ego to get in the way, and we can actually gain forward momentum and even compromise.
And what does Mr. Jefferson think about today's society and America today?
Jefferson would say that in some ways we have achieved greatness, but there's still work to do.
There's still work to do.
Absolutely.
And what about the celebrations that we'll have every year, as we always do, with the fireworks and the pool parties and the parades and hanging out with families? Is that what Mr. Thomas Jefferson would be wanting?
Well, you know, John Adams says that the day that should be remembered as our nation's birthday is July the 2nd, and as usual, Mr. Adams is wrong. He says that July the 2nd should be remembered with fireworks and parades and bands like our fife and drum. that is the day that this declaration was officially adopted to be ratified, July the 2nd. But of course, it took 2 days for them to ruin my perfect document. And then on July 4th, it was officially voted upon. And today we celebrate with fireworks and parades and hot dogs and pictures with friends and family. But I think it's important to remember what Jefferson calls the spirit of 76. As he says, the spirit of 76, so that we remember the principles over which we initially shed our blood. These principles, this 8-minute document, the Declaration of America's Independence, which founded an entire American experiment in self-government.
We want to tell you and all members of your community, thank you so much for having us at Colonial Williamsburg.
Thank you.
It's been a lot. It's helped a lot of our viewers, like all of you at home, brush up on our Founding Fathers' history.
Thank you.
So we appreciate it so very much.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great Independence Day yourself.
We will.
Friends at home, as I mentioned at the top, make sure you send us your pictures, email us, find us on social media.
How cool is that? I love these type of recitations as well, Iran, you're mentioning that. And just Colonial Williamsburg in general, how they do these reenactments, and so timely, of course, for Independence Day. It's all pretty cool to see just a day in advance. This just happened a few hours ago. We took this from one of our sister stations and thought it was very apropos to show all of you. I'm wearing my 4th of July attire. I'm ready. We are going to be off the normal stream tomorrow, but we will bring you any special celebrations or parades or anything that we have live on our live stream, on our Facebook page, or on our website, fox5dc.com. So don't forget to check there tomorrow if you're just checking in with us, but we'll be back as normal on Thursday on the 5th. But yeah, we'll roll it out with this little bit of music for you guys.
Drums to 10. Jump! Half it off.
Guys, obviously a live look here at this wall in Cleveland. This is the iconic LeBron James banner being taken down. Check out that close-up of the worker working to kind of bring it down in panels. I believe it's sort of blocked off in sort of 4 different banners, vertical banners that they're taking down. We had this up a little bit earlier as they make progress on taking this down. LeBron James, of course, going to the LA Lakers and saying goodbye to his hometown, or home state rather, of Ohio. Cleveland supporters and fans still pretty much on his side. Lots of people tweeting their support for him and his move and his future. This is kind of a cool close-up, a live look at this banner shot. So enjoy this for just a little bit. All right, guys, so a live look right now at this LeBron banner being pulled down in Cleveland, Ohio. Not a lot of other really thrilling or pressing video coming in for us today. There's not a ton going on because everyone's preparing for the holiday and the celebrations here in D.C. President Trump himself actually is in or traveling to White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia, where he'll be giving a salute to service for the military. And then tonight, there's actually a rehearsal for the Capitol 4th, which is the big celebration on the Mall, featuring a few celebrities and artists, musical selections for the 4th of July celebration at the Mall, which will be broadcast on PBS on the 4th, as it always is. So there's a whole to-do, fireworks and the whole thing ceremonious on the 4th. So that rehearsal is tonight. We should have some pictures or some sort of story coming out in our evening broadcast and online about that. And then President Trump as well will probably stream that if we do get that in later on in the evening. Right now, though, we'll leave it kind of on this shot, kind of a cool look as they piece by piece take down this iconic banner in Cleveland saying goodbye to their hometown hero of sorts, LeBron from Akron, Ohio. And if we have anything else pressing or breaking, we'll bring that in. Sam will come up next to host the next portion if she sees anything of note to bring to you. But quickly, a live look at D.C. Oof, it doesn't even really show you how hot and hazy it is, but it is extremely hot out. People are complaining about that heat index, and it's going to be continuing on throughout the evening. I think the advisory goes till 8 p.m. here Eastern time. Super, super hot. So flashing back to Cleveland, live look at this banner being taken down. Take care, guys. Have a great 4th. We'll be back for regular programming on our digital stream here on Thursday. There will be some people in the office tomorrow in case anything breaks. We'll be up for that. But our normal sort of daytime stream back as normal on Thursday, and we'll catch you then. All right, guys. Happy 4th.
As Dave's brothers and sisters in Local 372, we have a special responsibility to you, his family. On behalf of all of our members, I make this commitment to you. We will be here for you every day, not just now, but in the years to come. A handyman when you need something fixed, a built-in cheering section at Sammy's baseball games, a proud extended family at birthdays, graduations, weddings, the birth of grandchildren. Whatever you need, we will be there. You are a part of all of us now, tomorrow, and forever. In closing, I'd like to beg your indulgence and speak to the brothers and sisters at Station 10. As you know, Station 10 was Dave's station. It's also the station I call home. We are a very tight-knit group at Station 10. Whether you're on A, B, or C shift, we're birds of a feather. When the holidays roll around and we have a station Christmas party with all 3 shifts gathering at Station 10, so all on-duty crews can attend. Just last year, Dave started a new tradition where one of us would dress up as Santa Claus, slide down the fire pole, and hand out toys to all the kids. This tradition that Dave started will forever continue at Station 10. He took the spirit of giving seriously and was always reflective in his words, but even more importantly in his actions. To my brothers and sisters at Station 10, I know you're hurting. Losing Dave leaves a hole in our hearts that we can never truly heal. It goes without saying that we will always be there for Lindley, Alec, and Sammy. But we need to also be there for each other too. We will carry Dave in our hearts as we carry on doing our jobs protecting the people of Long Beach. It's a job Dave loved to the very end, and it's a job that brought us together and keeps us together as a firefighter family. One of the hallmarks of Dave's own family is a deep, abiding faith. To honor Dave's faith and provide comfort to his family, we're honored to present to Lindley and the kids a specially inscribed Bible. Please think of this as a family Bible from your other family, your firefighter family. A family that will hold you in our arms forever, just as God holds our brother Dave tightly in his arms. Sister Anderson, will you please present the Bible to Lindley? Dave, we love you, we miss you, and you will forever be in our thoughts and prayers.
This time, I'd like to call up Fire Captain Jeff Harden.
Hello. So a characteristic that a firefighter should have is to stay calm under pressure. And I think this qualifies looking out at everybody right now. I'm with you, Alec. This sounded like a great idea when they asked me prior, and as I hear all these great speeches, I had to ask people next to me if they can hear my heartbeat, because I'm pretty sure it was that loud. I'm here to discuss Dave's time at Station 10 and also briefly his time at training. For those going after me, if I can't make it through, I pass out or anything, push me aside and just continue. I understand. I will be okay. I understand. So my name is Jeff Harden. I'm the A shift captain at Station 10. Dave is the B shift captain at Station 10. Darren EK is the C shift captain at Station 10. We've been fortunate enough to work with him for many years. And before I start, I also want to just recognize Ernesto Torres. who was wounded on the 25th. He's a brother at Station 10, and let him know that every day everybody's thinking about you and praying for you as well. We never lose sight of that. So Dave was assigned as the B shift captain in December of 2012 to Station 10. He was assigned to training from 2015 to 2017, where he taught multiple drill schools and worked on numerous projects, including some of his favorite were green cells with LA City. It's a fire simulation project, moving the, putting on the biddle at in Long Beach, and introducing the 2.5-inch attack line that he's very passionate about to our city. The other ones, it goes on and on. The list continues of what he accomplished while he was at training. And then he came back and he was assigned to Station 10, where he will be assigned forever. So at training, per Chief Underwood and his co-workers, fellow captains, and the staff there, they recall Dave's humor and the way that he told stories. He would make you double over in laughter the way he would tell them. As everybody knows, he was very animated, used his hands a lot, very rigid, and it was like watching a little Dave movie every time. So if he told the same story again, you were there listening again, because you'd laugh just as hard the second time. It was hilarious. And he had a perfect mustache, by the way. I want to throw that in there. On the other hand, when it came to going out on the drill yard, he can switch it just like that and be serious. And per Chief Underwood and the staff, he was an exceptional training captain, and he made us proud to be in our profession. When he taught drill schools, they would typically bring the cadre out a couple weeks early to go over and prep for your disciplines you'd be teaching. And we'd do live burns. Dave was, helping everybody out, all smiles, having a good time. Very helpful. We'd prep, do our PowerPoints and our lesson plan, same thing. Very helpful, all smiles. But the day drill school started, it was Full Metal Jacket to him. And we were like, where is this coming from? And he was all over kind of peacocking and yelling and this and that, but it was animated. We all wanted to be in there to see it, but it was genuine. He was not doing it being vindictive or anything. He truly cared about every recruit, and they loved him. And we would actually make sure all the instructors were in there when he would do this, because it was very comical. And we'd talk about it later on in the class, in our private area, and laugh about it again. There's another cadre member. His name's Engineer Robinette, we called Master Chief, who would hide up on the tower, and we call it the Eagle Eye. He would keep an eye out on the recruits without them knowing, and he'd be monitoring their behavior. So they called him the Eagle Eye. Dave thought it was a good idea that he would try this. So he went up on the tower, and he's up there, and we're like, we know Engineer Robinette's the Eagle Eye. What is Dave? And somebody said, well, he's the Fat Finch. So, not that he was obese, not saying that. Yeah, he lacked a little discipline in the donut and cake department. And that's his button, and all firefighters have a button, some big, some small, and it's your responsibility as a firefighter to push that button as many times as you can and as often as you can. It's not my rule, it's policy. So, and we did it as much as we could, but he would just say that's very hurtful. So when he came to Station 10, Station 10 is a very busy station, and for those that work there, they love working there. Some others, not so much. It's not their cup of tea. Dave got there. He didn't like the ladder that was mounted next to the apparatus where he would enter the engine. It's probably been there before any of us were hired, so he decided to move it. The other crews didn't like that too much, so they moved it back, and it went back and forth from shearing the bolts off the wall, welding it to the bracket, on and on, until Dave got rid of the bracket, so they decided to move a Coke machine in its place where he could not get in the engine anymore. And later on, they found out he did ask the other captains if it's okay. We said yes, but he allowed us to go on and play with the other crews, which they respected him for that. And he did ask. That's the way we do it. Hey, do you mind if I do this? And he did do that. So this is the type of person he was. He followed the rules, extremely respectful, and everyone at that station loves him. I'm going to read a few quotes from firefighters. I asked everybody to give me some information on how they remember Dave and their favorite parts of Dave. So I'm going to read a few quotes from firefighters at that station. One of the paramedics said Dave had pride in his crew. It showed through his training expectations. He was funny at the table and didn't hold back his infectious laugh, even when he was telling a story about himself. Another senior firefighter said he was one of the most intimidating instructors at drill school. But once you got to know him, he had the warmest heart, and he was always willing to go that extra mile to help you out. And that's very true. He did that with everybody at the station and every recruit he had. Another senior firefighter at the station said he was a man of principle, lighthearted and funny, and in any situation, he'd step up to the plate in a heartbeat to help you out. One of our engineers said he was a great, humble leader who led by example and made you want to be like him. He was very professional and compassionate to every person he made contact with, and he was also a Long Beach guy. This person was also grew up in Long Beach. Another person, Dave held being a firefighter close to his heart, but he held his family even closer. He spoke very highly of his parents, wife, and kids, and he took pride in everything he did. Lindley, Alex, Sammy, you'll always be a part of this family. You'll always be a part of Station 10, and you know, from everyone at 10s in this department, we love you guys. And Dave, my last conversation, his last shift, he was talking about his top priority at the station was to get that front landscaping done, and he was adamant, and with some help from Ollie Maldonado and a couple other connections, we got it done. So I think it turned out exactly the way he would have wanted it. So that's done. So Dave, we'll miss you. Your hilarious stories, your amazing personality, and especially your smile in the morning. It really brightened up our days. So thank you guys. Thanks for letting me talk.
This time I'd like to invite up Long Beach Fire Captain Josh Hogan and firefighter Nick Marquises.
Lindley, Alec, Sammy, Mr. and Mrs. Rosa, family, friends, dignitaries, and all the brothers and sisters of public service, we are here today to mourn the loss and pay tribute to a great man, our friend, our brother, Captain Dave Rosa. Our brotherhood began on Rescue 11, A platoon, and we spent several years together before Dave promoted to captain. We both felt an immediate connection with Dave. Those years were some of the best and most memorable experiences, both professionally and personally.
Proverbs 27:17 tells us, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another, and that was Dave. Dave made everyone around him better. We are all better people. We're all better firefighters because of our interactions with Dave.
Dave was the consummate professional, but always enjoyed having a good time. His smile and laugh were infectious. One of the best storytellers on the job. I don't recall a shift passing without him cracking up the entire crew. Some of my fondest memories are those early years at Station 11, sitting around the kitchen table well past dinner with Dave and Captain Shetland trading stories. Sorry, Shetland. Rosa's stories were a bit better by a hair. No pun intended. Allow Josh and I to share some of the special memories we have of Dave.
Dave had a big personality and a big laugh. At the station, he loved being the center of attention. There's one great memory I have of our time together at Station 11. So picture yourself there at the dinner table at Station 11, the long dinner table. At one end was Dave, and at the other end was Brian Schur. We'd be sitting around the table, after chow, just talking, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Dave would slap his hands on the table and yell out, "Free shot, free shot." This, of course, meant that Brian Schuyler would grab one dinner roll and have a chance to throw it as hard as he could and hit Dave. Dave would scoot back in his chair, cover his face, and Brian would get one throw as hard as he could to hit Dave with a roll. Over all those years, Brian never hit Dave. But he would get close. And after Brian missed, Dave would pick up his plate, shrug his shoulders, and say, "Sorry, only one free shot." There was a time Dave began a startup business as a finished carpenter. Dave was very resourceful, using his Volkswagen Passat station wagon, a complement of borrowed tools, and my shop vac, which he would always return full of sawdust. Dave set out on his new venture. Dave would arrive at Station 11 with baseboards and crown molding strapped down to his roof, extending well beyond the front and rear bumper. There's a saying within Long Beach Fire Department, "Return it back better than how you found it." Well, that never happened. And we had lots of fun trading jabs with that one. But circumstances didn't matter. Dave was a true craftsman in everything that he did. Going back to the beginning of our time together on Rescue 11, I remember my first shift working with Dave on Rescue 11, and we got dispatched to an address that we're very familiar with. 11's guys, you'll know. We arrived first on scene. The rescue was alone. Dave walked in first with a drug box and monitor in hand, and I was behind him. And next thing I know, he's getting wailed on by the patient with her purse. So I instinctively jumped in there, restrained the patient while we waited for Engine 11 and PD to arrive to help. But I recall after that incident thinking to myself, okay, this is how it's going to be working with Dave. Dave's going to have my back, I'm going to have his. And we continue to have each other's back on the rescue as partners, and in the years to come, as even after we moved on in our professional careers, we always had each other's back. Our brother Dave was selfless. Daniel Ferris, known as Double D to all the guys and gals at Station 11, is an honorary ride-along. Over the years, Dave, along with other crew members, rallied together and provided Double D with station boots, t-shirt, and a jacket. After the shift was over, Dave would kindly drive Double D home, but not before being lured into McDonald's drive-thru for an Egg McMuffin and some orange juice. Double D is here today, mourning the loss of his friend and brother, Captain Dave Rosa. I don't think it's coincidence that days before Dave passed, I was able to work one last shift with him. We sat around the kitchen table at Station 8 for a few hours and shared, as he often did, that his greatest joy and accomplishment was his marriage to his love, Lindley, and being a father to his two remarkable boys, Alec and Sammy. He was a true family man at heart and always carried his family in his heart. I will miss those talks with Dave. I will miss my friend, my partner, and my brother. Dave was one of our best. His loss leaves a void that's difficult to comprehend. The pain is profound. The loss is senseless. In 1 Thessalonians 4:13, the Apostle Paul writes, "Grieve, but not as those who have no hope." Again, it states, "Grieve, but not as those who have no hope." And that's the tone we take away today. We grieve. We grieve because we lost someone we love and someone who made our lives better. But we also hope. We hope because despite the pain, we believe there's a God who the Bible teaches us has conquered death through his Son, Jesus Christ. And we believe that God allows us to do the same. We will honor Dave by carrying on his legacy of professionalism, leadership, and compassion for the rest of our careers. In closing, there is a great quote I'd like to share with everybody today from St. John Chrysostom.
They whom we love and lost are no longer where they were before. They are now wherever we are. Lindley, know that Lisa and I will always be here for you and the boys. Alec and Sammy, know that your father loved you immensely and cherished his time with you. Dave, my brother, may your memory be eternal.
Give it a good knockdown, okay? And we try to preserve as much evidence as we can until your captain realizes it gives you the go-ahead to go further, or to, you know what, we got a good knockdown to get out.
Hey everybody out on YouTube land, it's Sam here in the newsroom. We just saw a memorial that they were holding in California. One of the fire captains in Long Beach, California, David Rosa, he died in the line of duty this past week. He actually was shot and killed while responding to a report of an explosion at a senior living facility. So they were having a memorial service today. There were his colleagues speaking and honoring him, and you just saw some images of him in working with his partners and on the fire unit that he worked on. So he was 45 when he died. The shooting happened at a senior living facility called Covenant Manor in this 11-story building, but he was shot by someone who was there at the building, and then another person in the building was there as well. The guy who did the shooting was a resident and was arrested, but he's also facing other charges. So this is very sad for that community there. So I'm glad we got to catch a part of it. There's also a briefing happening at the State Department. The spokeswoman is speaking now, so we can check in a little bit of that.
Efforts to enhance trade, curb irregular migration, and manage our shared border. The Secretary will discuss continued U.S.-Mexico cooperation with the NATO administration throughout the transition. The United States looks forward to working closely with President-elect Obrador to continue strengthening the U.S.-Mexico relationship after the new administration takes office on December the 1st. And lastly, I would like to say congratulations to a member of the State Department Press Corps. Many of you know Alicia Rose from NHK. She's traveled on the road with us and has been here, I think, every day, at least since I've been here. Alicia will be leaving NHK to go to law school, correct, in Los Angeles? Yes, so congratulations to you. We're excited for you, and best wishes. Godspeed. And then while I'm on that note, I'd like to congratulate Josh Letterman. Your
Former.
Yeah, you're a former, like Ponch and John, or like Bo and Luke Duke. Josh.
Wow. And you
is now taking off.
And you said I showed my age with a $6 million man.
I'm sure many of you know who both of those all those characters are.
John,
anyway, so congratulations to Josh. Well-deserved success, and good luck to you at NBC News, and welcoming Susanna once again. And with that, I'd be happy to take your questions.
Heather, the Secretary, before he goes to Mexico,
yes.
His first stop of the trip that he's leaving on this week is in North Korea, as you know. The President tweeted this morning that if it weren't for him, meaning President Trump, that we would be now at war with North Korea. Does the Secretary, does the State Department share that view?
Well, you know, I think back to where we were 1 year ago today, actually 1 year ago tomorrow. Many of you will remember the 4th of July. Many of you were contacted to have to return to work. I know I was in New York planning to go to fireworks with my family, had to hop on an earlier flight to come back to Washington. Why? Because there was an ICBM launch on the part of North Korea. So if we look back to where we were 1 year ago, we're in a good position today, and I think that's what the President was simply referring to. A lot of people were in panic. A lot of people around the world were very concerned about what would happen between the United States and North Korea, and the fact that our Secretary is now getting ready to go on have his 4th meeting with the North Koreans in less than 3 months, I think is a testament to just how far we've come.
All right, and then just one last one on that same one. The Secretary is aware, right, that the Korean War ended not with a peace treaty, but rather with an armistice. And so technically, all the combatant parties to that conflict are still at war, right? He understands that. Right?
I don't understand why we're doing a history lesson here, Matt. What's your question?
Because the President in his tweet said we would be at war with North Korea if it weren't for me, and because
Matt,
of the situation.
Come on. I think what the President is referring to is where we were 1 year ago. And how many of your friends, how many family members asked you for your honest assessment about whether or not we would be in this situation? I would be willing to guess that a good number of people asked you that very question. We're in a good spot today. The Secretary is looking forward to having meetings with his North Korean counterparts. And we go into this eyes wide open, but nevertheless, we've made a lot of progress in the past year.
The last one is just extremely tangentially related. It's just a day. When did Steve Mull start as the acting?
He's been sort of performing those functions for a few weeks now. When exactly he received the designations, that I don't know.
All right, thanks.
But we're thrilled to have him back and on board. Okay, let's finish up on North Korea before we move on to something else. Okay, hi, Janny.
Yeah, Secretary Pompeo's trip to North Korea. The name of the configured team. Do you have any go with him?
The name of what? I'm sorry?
Configure the teams.
Who will be going?
Yes.
Well, the Secretary is going to be going. He's leading. I'll be along with him. I understand we've got six reporters who will be coming along with us as well. So those folks who will be on the trip will certainly see who will be a part of the delegation, I'll call it. And I'll just leave it at that right now.
John Bolton's go with him.
Pardon me?
John Bolton's go NSA.
Oh, is he going to North Korea? Not to my awareness, but I don't speak for Ambassador Bolton.
You.
Yes, no. But I'd refer you over to the NSC for any questions about Ambassador Bolton's travel. Okay, hey, how are you?
Can you just share with us the agenda of Secretary Pompeo's talks to the DPRK and what are the expectations for these talks? Thank you.
Well, again, as I say, we go into this eyes wide open. We're continuing our conversations and also our consultations with the North Korean government about what the president and what Kim Jong-un agreed to at the Singapore summit. So we obviously have a whole lot to talk about. We have at least a day and a half of meetings planned, depending on how the schedule goes. I'm not going to get ahead of those meetings, so I know you all will want a ton of details, but we've got these meetings coming up. Ambassador Sung Kim had a good series of meetings when he was in North Korea to help plan for this, and so I'm just not going to be able to give you all the details about what we intend to do that very day. Okay. Alicia, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, first, thank you for your kind words. It's been a pleasure to work with everyone. And I wanted to ask how confident the Secretary is that he can get firm and specific commitments from the North Koreans on making progress towards denuclearization.
Yeah. I think the Secretary has addressed that extensively, in which he said that North Korea is very clear in terms of our expectations. We've had very clear conversations with them. There will be no surprises in terms of what we are asking them to do. Our policy remains the same today as it was going into the Singapore summit. So nothing in that regard has changed. The Secretary looks forward to having those additional meetings, and that's simply where we are right now.
And you said that he would be there for a day and a half.
Approximately or so. I haven't done the math on it exactly, but yeah.
Does that mean that the Secretary will be spending the night in Pyongyang?
Again, that's why I say we're not exactly there yet. I haven't done the math, but we're spending a good bit of time there. Okay. Hey, yeah.
Heather, so John Bolton was mentioned as he told over the weekend in a media interview that North Korea could dismantle the WMD and ballistic missile program in a year. So my question for you is 1 year the timeline? And since you mentioned last year, July 4th, what do you expect to see North Korea be doing in July 4th next year?
Well, I don't know how they traditionally celebrate that our holiday in North Korea, but I'm not going to speculate on anything that somebody may or may not do. The Secretary has said, and he's been very clear about this, and I know it's much to your frustration, but we're not going to get into all the details about the discussions that are taking place. In terms of a timeline, I know some individuals have given timelines. We're not going to provide a timeline for that. The Secretary is looking forward to having his meetings. A lot of work is left to be done, certainly. We go into this eyes wide open, very clear, with a very clear view of these conversations, and I'm just not going to get ahead of those discussions. Okay? You'll be on the trip. A lot of you will be on the trip, and you'll be able to ask some of those questions then. Janny, let me move around and go to somebody else. Hold on.
No, not yet.
Okay, hold on. Let me head over to Reuters, and you're a summer intern, I understand, right? Okay, so it's intern season here in Washington.
It is.
Well, welcome on board.
Thank you so much. Related to travel, what is the Secretary planning to accomplish in Vietnam? Why did he think it was important to include on this trip? And what are the preparations going into the Putin-Trump summit? And then I'd like to
let me take one at a time. Everybody will tell you how to do one at a time. In terms of Vietnam, Vietnam is an important partner of the United States. Vietnam is an incredible example of a country, a communist country, that has yet done very well, in terms of its economy, in terms of what it provides its people, in terms of the trade that the United States and many other countries do with Vietnam. So I think it's just a good example of a country that's doing well in the region, and that's part of the reason why we're planning to travel there. The Secretary has a lot of meetings planned while he's there, also dinner that he'll be attending, where he'll be addressing some business leaders there, so he'll have a good chance to talk with them about that.
Sorry, is that the extent of the relationship? Vietnam also throws dissidents in jail. Bloggers, etc. People
and
who you routine. Yep. So is that going to be part of his visit as well?
You know what? I don't have a full readout on what exactly that visit will entail, but as you know, Matt, when we have conversations with other governments, there are a whole host of things that come up, and a lot of things that we discuss privately that we don't, discuss here every single day. Okay.
Also related to the travel, Daphne wanted to talk to you about the Brussels stop on Syria, the discussions on Syria.
Okay. We'll move on from North Korea and we'll head over to Syria now then. Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question about North Korea?
Okay.
Can you tell us what
the Secretary?
Can you tell us what the Secretary is going to be telling the North Koreans in relation to these reports that they are continuing their research in secret locations?
That's why I say, and I'm not going to get into any intelligence matters. That's not what we do at the State Department. We don't talk about intelligence matters. But the Secretary, we're all keeping a close eye. The U.S. government keeping a close eye on North Korea. And the Secretary has been very clear and very blunt with the North Koreans about what he expects, and I'll leave it at that.
One more on Korea?
Okay, fine.
One of the other issues that was a part of the joint declaration was the returning of Americans' remains. Right. The Pentagon and UN Command have said that carrying caskets are waiting at the DMZ for these remains to be returned. What's the holdup? Why haven't they been returned yet?
Well, I think that would be a DOD issue because DOD has a department or a bureau that deals specifically with that issue. And so they apparently facilitated, some of the materials that would be needed to transfer any remains in a dignified fashion. So I would just refer you over to DOD for that. We don't have anything for you on that. But I will say that would certainly be a good sign if North Koreans were to fulfill that commitment, certainly.
They say it's a diplomatic issue, though, because it's the North Koreans who haven't followed through on...
Who says it's a diplomatic issue?
The Pentagon.
I would refer you back to the Pentagon. The Pentagon has a robust department that deals specifically with these issues each and every day in difficult parts of the world. So I would refer you back to the Pentagon for that. Okay. All right. So let's move on from North Korea now. Okay. Go ahead. You want to talk about
Syria, yes,
okay.
And I have a question on Iran as well.
Okay. We tend to stick to regions before we move on. So we'll go to Syria. If we get back to you with a question about Iran, we can do that.
How much and what does the Secretary want to accomplish in Syria, in southern Syria, where Russia is currently in peace talks with the rebels? And I understand they've reached an agreement to hand over the weapons and allow Russian police or military police to enter rebel-held towns.
Okay, I've not seen that specific report that you were referring to. The Southwest ceasefire area is something that the United States has paid very close attention to over the past nearly 1 year. The United States, Russia, and Jordan have all been involved in trying to maintain a ceasefire that had held up until not too long ago. As many of you know, Secretary Pompeo spoke earlier today to Foreign Minister Lavrov. One of the issues that they did discuss with this was the Southwest Syria ceasefire situation. As we have talked about the ceasefire over the past year, we have on numerous occasions highlighted the fact that humanitarian aid was able to get in as a result of that ceasefire. And we also said that lives were undoubtedly saved because of that ceasefire. And now as we watch the situation there, we have extreme concerns about the situation. There are ongoing airstrikes. Some humanitarian aid had been stopped. We understand that some humanitarian aid may be getting back in again, at least for now, but it's certainly not a safe situation. So we're continuing to have talks with the Russians. We're continuing to have talks with the Jordanians and express our extreme concern about the situation there. Okay. Anything else on Syria today? Okay.
Is there any meeting between Secretary Pompeo and Russia Foreign Minister Lavrov being set up or being discussed? Because I understand Secretary Pompeo is going also to Middle East and also to Brussels. Is there a pull-aside meeting?
Is there a pull-aside? No, nothing is on the schedule, at least not at this point. Okay. All right. Saeed, go right ahead.
Thank you, Heather. Yes, 7 former U.S. ambassadors to the United Nations submitted a letter to Secretary Pompeo yesterday asking or urging him to reinstate the funding UNRWA. Could you share anything with us? Has he read it? Did he react to it? What is your position on that?
I can just tell you, we don't comment as a general matter. We don't comment on the Secretary's correspondence. So let me start out by saying that we certainly have seen the reports about former U.S. officials expressing their concern about the situation. No decision has been made on UNRWA funding at this point. We talked about this about a week and a half or so ago. We continue to express our concerns about the mismanagement of UNRWA, about the fact that UNRWA every year about this time has this emergency funding appeal where they come to all kinds of countries and say, help, 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 we need money. We feel that structural reforms need to be made and those reforms need to be put in place. And also that UNRWA should find some additional voluntary funding streams so that the burden sharing is not just on the United States, but on many other countries as well. There was a meeting back in Rome a few months ago that our Ambassador Satterfield had attended, in which other countries had expressed their interest in providing some money. So we hope that some other countries in the region will step up to that.
I have a couple more questions also on funding to the Palestinian Authority. There were reports 2 weeks ago that funding was cut off.
I'm sorry, there were reports
that
what?
Aid to the Palestinian Authority was completely cut off or frozen. Could you share anything with us on that?
I don't have anything for you on that. So I'm sorry, I can just tell you in terms of the UNRWA funding that that's still under review.
And lastly, the Israelis denied entry to an American woman who was going in because of her activities. Is that something that in any way disturb you, that they disallow Americans from going in because of their political views or their activism?
I don't know the details of this particular case. Countries are, however, allowed to admit or not to admit certain people into their countries. Just leave it at that.
But they said clearly that she was not allowed in because she supports BDS, which is really a peaceful movement.
Well, you know that we, as a United States
Right.
government, do not support what you call BDS.
Okay, that's fine, but that's, that still, I mean, it's a peaceful protest kind of movement. It's not in any way militant. You certainly
And we
will
value
not deny,
freedom of expression.
You don't deny
You
anyone
know that, yeah.
for supporting the BDS.
Yeah,
in
I
terms
don't
of
have the
country.
details on her particular case or on this particular case. We value the freedom of expression, and we'll refer you back to the government of
But
Israel on that.
This seems to have occurred time and time again, to the clergy, to professors, and so on. And you are not bothered by that.
Okay, last thing I will say is that countries are sovereign. They have a right to either admit or deny admittance to individuals at their border. Okay.
But when you do find out more about this specific case, find out if there is a concern, because she is a U.S. citizen, and it is the mission of the State Department to assist Americans abroad in distress. It's one of your primary functions, safety and security of American citizens. And because she is apparently being denied entry into an allied country because of her expression of free speech, that would seem to me that you might take more than just a casual interest. So when you do look into it, please get back to us.
Certainly,
Thank
Matt. Of course, always. Lori, go right ahead.
Thank you. Are you concerned about the deteriorating security situation in Kirkuk? Because General Votel told us that the coalition, Peshmerga, and Iraqi security forces should all work together to address these problems. Is that your view too?
I would refer you to DOD, first of all, for any comments that General Votel may have made, but we certainly work with all of them to try to help ensure the security of Iraq.
And to renew cooperation between the two forces would be a good idea.
I think continue for the Iraqi security forces, for the Peshmerga, all of those various groups to be able to continue working together in conjunction with coalition partners. That's certainly a good thing.
Okay, on Kirkuk, and this is your domain, relates to Iran, that Iraqi militias, which are part of the Iraqi security forces, are now transporting oil from Kirkuk to Iran and selling it there. That will soon be a violation of your policy on sanctions regarding Iran. Are you trying to stop that oil trade?
First, I want to make this clear. We can't confirm that report. We've seen that report. We just can't confirm it.
Okay. Last one. Do you have a readout on the meeting that Administrator Green and Ambassadors Brownback and Suleiman had with Prime Minister Barzani yesterday on protecting religious minorities?
Yeah. That is a big thing for this administration. The Vice President has spoken about it numerous times. Secretary Pompeo, I know, is really looking forward to the religious freedom ministerial that we'll hold here at the State Department later this month. And then Ambassador Brownback, in conjunction with Mark Green, Administrator Green from USAID, just traveled over to northern Iraq to take a closer look at the plight of religious minorities in that part of the country, the Yazidis, the Christians, and others. So when they return, I know that they will be debriefing the Vice President. We'll get a chance to hear from them too. So I'll just wait until they're able to return and get a chance to speak with the Vice President before reading that out. Okay.
On Iran, are you aware of this bizarre story about an Iranian diplomat being arrested in Europe for being involved in an alleged plot to bomb the rally of an Iranian opposition
I did see
group?
that story,
Do you
yes.
guys have any thoughts or anything to say about either one, the arrest of the diplomat, but also the plot in general, because it appeared to target an event at which a lot of Americans were, or at least a number of prominent Americans were attending?
Yeah, I think we probably would not get ahead of what investigators in France would be looking into. They would certainly play the lead role in looking into this in conjunction with any U.S. support that may be taking place. We're closely monitoring that report. We're certainly aware of it. We all saw it yesterday when it first came out. Overall, I can just say that we strongly condemn the Iranian government's use of terrorism, which has taken place around the world in many countries. We're all too familiar with the Iranian attacks that have taken place, and we continue to condemn acts of terrorism that Iran has been involved with in the past. Okay, go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
Does the State Department have any information to back up the president's claim that the previous administration provided citizenship to 2,500 Iranians?
Yeah, I saw that report out earlier today. I'm certainly familiar with what you're talking about. That's under Department of Homeland Security. The Department of State does not grant citizenship to people from other countries, so I'd have to refer you to the Department of Homeland Security on that. Okay, anything else? All right. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
It's about President Trump's letter to NATO members about the increase of the military spendings. Did the State Department hear anything from the European countries about it? Their responses?
Their responses to which?
To President Trump's letter to those NATO members about demanding the increase of their spendings.
Regarding the letter in general, I would have to refer you both to the White House and the National Security Council on that. Any letter would not have gone out from the State Department, but rather from the White House or from the NSC. So they will have to answer the questions. However, I can tell you that burden sharing is something that the president speaks about a lot. Having NATO countries pay 2% of their GDP into defense is something that's important to the president. The president feels that the European security shouldn't be more important to the United States than it is to those countries themselves. And so that's one of the things that the president and others will be looking to ask of those European countries to make sure they're living up to those commitments that were made under the Wales Agreement some years ago.
So just this department hasn't heard anything from the European countries about this letter?
Listen, again, regarding this letter, if there is any letter, I'd have to refer you to the NSC and to the White House. I have nothing for you on that. But our policy about wanting countries to pay what they have already pledged to, what they have already promised to pay, is nothing new, and that stance should come as no surprise. In terms of the Secretary, and I can speak to the State Department, we're looking forward to heading to Brussels in support of the President and the President's travels, and we'll have some sidebar meetings as well on other issues, but we're looking forward to be there backing the President. Okay? Go ahead.
Back on Iran, President Rouhani said today that the U.S. would not succeed in reducing Iranian oil exports and hinted at disrupting shipments from neighboring countries.
Yeah, I'm not. One thing you'll come to learn about me and what we do here is we're not going to comment on every comment that some foreign leader makes. You all heard the briefing, I think it was just yesterday, by Brian Hook. It feels like it was a week ago, but that was just yesterday, where Brian was talking about our goals regarding Iran and oil exports. And that's something that's important to us, an important part of our overall strategy. Okay? And we're gonna have to wrap it up in just a minute. Go ahead, right ahead, Miss. How are you?
Good. Yesterday, Mr. Brian Hook said the diplomatic effort right now is focused on negotiation with European allies. But China, as the largest Iran oil buyer, why not the United States is engaging China right now? Without China's support, how can you achieve your goal to reduce the oil export from Iran to zero?
Well, we have a lot of negotiations and conversations with the Chinese government. In fact, Secretary Pompeo just spoke with the Chinese State Counselor 4 days ago or so. So we continue to have conversations with them on a lot of issues, from North Korea to Iran to other things as well. So we have a full plate that we're discussing with China on other things.
Critics in China are saying that trade policy actually is a sovereign decision.
That what is?
Trade policy actually is a sovereign decision. Why the United States can demand other countries to decide what to buy and what not to.
I don't think that's what the United States is doing. What the President and the Secretary of State have talked about is free, fair, and reciprocal trade. And for far too long, we believe that the United States government and the taxpayers and United States businesses have gotten an unfair deal. So the President is looking to rebalance trade deals in that fashion. I've got to wrap it up and leave it there, guys. Thank you, and we will look forward to seeing some of you on the road tomorrow. And have a happy 4th of July.